Nsw.t and Km.t. I hope you're doing well. I'm just going to check that the sound is loud and clear. That's beautiful. Okay. Let's deal with this. Now, okay. A few minutes ago, I uploaded a video and it's quite long. It's about 3 hours long, but the full live stream, I have shared the link as a matter of fact in the description. The full live stream is about 6 hours long. For those who don't know, that was just, I don't know if I should say yesterday or today, but as I was live streaming, I saw that Smash Rockwell did a live stream. So I've listened to it. And I participated in the chat. And once the link was shared for the people to get on the panel, then I joined the panel. And the discussion lasted for about 3 hours and 45 minutes. When I left, it was 7 a.m. For those who would take the time to see the video, I was with my daughter. First, she was sleeping beside me, then I was holding her. So I stayed for a good 3 hours and 45 minutes. Some people might feel like I ran, It's all good. I can live with that. And what is very interesting is that in this video, you will hear for yourselves what I've been talking about for years. We have some brothers who are extremely condescending, and if you listen to them, it's as if they know everything and everybody else is wrong. Because there's been this trend that's been going on for a few years of people who have some interesting and exotic talking points whenever they want to invalidate you. Okay. Things such as you're appealing to authority. It seems that now it's something wrong. To quote specialists, experts, scholars, PhDs who have spent many years of their life studying a particular academic field, it seems like it is wrong when it doesn't suit some people. See, the PhDs, the Egyptologists or PhDs of different academic fields that deals with history and of course linguistics, they will know several languages. We have some people who claim to be linguists, they don't have the degree, and you should ask them how many languages they speak. The majority of them just happen to speak one language, which is English. So I will do a little rundown of the history and the claims. About 2011, 11 years ago, I was live streaming. And I was a guest. Then the so-called linguist came, and at one point he talked about Hebrews and Kemet. So that surprised me. And I asked him for record for Hebrews and Kemet, and he kept telling me, well, you can read such so and so. So obviously he didn't have any references. And at one point when I asked him a question, he said, you're not making any sense. He ultimately said that he will write an article. I think there was two discussions, if I remember correctly, but you have the links to all the videos. So he said that he will write an article about his claim. He never did. It's on him. He's free to do whatever he wants. In the meantime, I wrote 2 articles, and you have the link in the description. Now, he did respond, and I have the screen print, I have the screen capture, and I was on Facebook, and he was on his high horse, and what's the point? If you don't read the text, whatever. You will see it for yourself. Fast forward 11 years. I haven't spoken to that dude. In the meantime, when he addressed Dr. Wesley Muhammad, in his opening statement, it was probably a PDF. He had the nerve. He never replied anything that I said. He was under no obligation. But then he had the nerve to say, first of all, I would like to say that I am not the likes of Shakandugu Kemet and Sarasut and Seti. Dr. Wesley Muhammad wanted to debate Sarasut and Seti. At the time, Seti didn't want that. Dr. Wesley Muhammad wanted to debate me, and he did challenge me publicly. I accepted. We spoke about it on the phone. We spoke about the time. We spoke about the venue, and then he backed down after I applied pressure on him. That's just for the record. You know, these kind of statements, extremely low as far as I'm concerned. But maybe I will change the title of this video. The title right now is Studying Medicine Doesn't Make You a Doctor. And I will change the title right now because I thought about it and I forgot. Proof that I am fair, refuting falsehood also from the Kemetic camp. I first thought about testament to my fairness, but it doesn't really sound that good. So I have changed the title. That's just for the record. Even if it comes from the Kemetic camp, I do not like falsehood. So that was a rundown. Fast forward 11 years. I must admit that in the meantime, since the so-called linguist was on the radio broadcast and he was asked about him pledging and he was asked if he bent over and held his ankle and got smacked in the bum with a paddle or something like that. And he said, he admitted to that. He said, basically, I did upload that part. That was just a little get back. It's what I did. It was a public statement. I did not go and look for some private stuff. He said that publicly. So, I don't know if there was some mental or emotional damage after he was smacked in the bum, but something must have happened along the way, you know, because we have someone who was invalidating basically all the PhD, all the Egyptologists in the world. And apparently, we have two brothers who have 10 scholars that agree with them. So the hundred of Egyptologists in the whole world, they are wrong. Those two brothers will school them and school us in the process. So we had a discussion with Ujau, who unfortunately is not as condescending as the so-called linguist, but he took on some of the characteristics. So sometimes you go, oh my God, oh, you guys don't understand, blah, 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 blah. When you don't agree with them, you don't understand. That's what they tell you. You're supposed to agree with them. If you quote some scholars, they will tell you, well, this is appealing to authority. This is referring to authority. This is slam dunking using the strength of the authority. There are all sorts of talking points. This is a logical fallacy. All those, it's just weird. Now, for those who are not aware, there was a claim that Kemet means riparian country. Okay? The majority of Egyptologists in the world translate Kemet as the Black Land. Some people translate it as the land of the black, but we have the root Kem that means black. Ujau said that Kem, after a name like Henenit the Black, Henenit Kem, We've seen some other names followed by Kem, which I said, no, it doesn't mean Kem. It's a title. It's a tutelary. It's a tutelary. So, as we usually do, we ask people to source up. So he said that he will show us the source. And we went for probably 2 hours and he never showed the source. But he spoke a lot and he tried to find some escape route as they usually do. I've been hearing those people, I've been listening to them, you know. And he changed again, any chance they get, they will make some statement. They will try to, bring up some new topic, to make you forget the main point. But with the neophytes, it would work, not with people with skill and experience. And interestingly, the book that he tried to use for his claim also gave the definition of black for Kem. So his own source went against his premise. Right? Towards the end, the so-called linguist came. So we spoke, I think it's all good. And when I asked the so-called linguist for his stance, for his position about the meaning of Kem, I asked him if Kem means the black, no matter what they meant by the black, because apparently it has nothing to do with phenotype, it has nothing to do with the color, or if he meant a title. And he said that my question was not logical. That's what he said. Sometimes you will ask questions that don't suit them, and rather than say, I don't want to answer or I don't have any answer, that's the kind of thing you will get. Now, bear in mind, this is the guy who said at one point, oh, he does ad hominem. And he also said, because I've of course, I've listened to what was said after I left. And he kept repeating that I have an issue with him engaging in linguistics and not having a degree. He went on to name several scholars who don't have any degree in linguistics, including Theophilo Benga. My issue is people claiming to be linguists when they don't have the degree in linguistics. That's my issue. Just like I will have an issue with someone claiming to be a medical doctor or a doctor of medicine, a MD, while not having the degree. And you notice that there's a conference going on right now, the one that was supposed to take place in Kemet. And if you look at the flyer, it doesn't say linguist. All those years, he introduced himself as a linguist. He was introduced as a linguist. Why do you think it doesn't say linguist on the flyer? Because he's dealing with scholars. And the majority of them, if not all of them, have PhDs. Well, not all of them, because Jabari doesn't have a PhD. So they're not going to let that slide. They're not going to let a dude who doesn't have a degree in linguistics introducing himself as a linguist. So he does that with the neophytes. He likes to engage with people who don't have much knowledge. But when he's facing people who have a certain amount of knowledge, he will quickly try to dismiss them by being very condescending. And he will keep on saying that the person doesn't understand when the person doesn't agree. You should agree to everything he says. That's his mentality. And like I've said, in 11 years, he hasn't changed. He is the same. Those people kept saying, well, he doesn't understand. When he came in, he started saying, well, Shaka did not comprehend. And, those people who like to use, they talk a certain way, you feel like they failed their vocation. That can impress the neophytes. But, I was dealing with the Medu Neter when he was claiming that Allah is an Egyptian text, when he was claiming that there were Hebrews in Kemet. And I thought he gave up on that. But just a few hours ago, he went back on that BS. And you will hear him saying that. Now, Negus Nigis is asking, what is the definition of Kem? Now, you can look at most dictionaries, most grammar books. The majority of Egyptologists will tell you that the main meaning of Kem is black. And if people want some reference, let's give an American reference because some people are elitist and they feel like anything that holds weight has to come from America. James P. Allen, who is considered an expert, I could say an authority, but I would get in trouble. So James P. Allen, and I have a video called um, I think it says Black Man, and there's other stuff, but he talks about someone called Henenit, Henenit being the given name, and labeled the Black. And guess what is the word for what? The Black? It's Kem. The book is called Middle Egyptian, and of course the book is longer, but anybody can type in James P. Allen and Middle Egyptian, you will see the book. Bear in mind that James P. Allen is far from being the only Egyptologist that translates Kem as black. Okay? Now, in the description, you will have links to the articles that I wrote back in 2011, and you will have, that's the most interesting, most like probably, the videos, and you will hear the different claims that the so-called linguists used to make. I did put one of his name, not the full name, in the previous video. I don't want people to think that I'm using his name like for clout, like we say nowadays, you know. And I also put the, you know, the name of Ujao. I don't have any problem with him. I just disagree with his claim. We spoke cordially. It lasted for long. We did not agree. He was a little bit condescending, but you know, people cannot change overnight. And you see, I've heard him before. I know how he is. You know what I'm saying? But he was cordial. Everybody can listen to that and attest to that. You know. Now, when the other guy came in, you know, one question really triggered him, but it might have been more than a question. So you will hear him say that Allah is in the Egyptian text. Now, for those who don't know, that so-called linguist has been claiming, so I heard, that Niger Congo is closer to the Medu-Neter than Coptic. This is the same guy who said that, well, actually, it's not really Medu-Neter, but it's Meda Mbale or something like that. I mean, those people, they are very creative. They're coming with a new definition of Kemet. They're coming with a new vocalization of Medu-Neter. You know, it will never stop. And at one point, apparently, there was a book, The Bacala of North America. So this is the way we should call ourselves. You know, some people are creative like that. And apparently, we must accept their proposal. We must accept their theory, their hypothesis, as if it was a fact, no matter if it is peer reviewed or not. Now, for those who don't know, and I don't know if he's still pushing that, but he has been claiming that the Sumerians were black. And I think he made videos about that. And in order to come to that conclusion, he's using linguistics. So apparently with linguistics, you can determine that the Sumerians were black. And he has been using some person who dealt with linguistics, but I heard that person is not a linguist, you know. I'm just saying. This one, let's see this one. Now, for the record, there's someone called Netaneb. Netaneb has addressed the so-called linguists for many different issues, and he had uploaded a video of the so-called linguist having a discussion with Dr. Campbell, who is a former African-American brother that relocated to Ghana after a bad experience with the police in America. And he went on to earn his PhD in linguistics in Ghana. If I'm not mistaken, his PhD is in linguistics. So the two of them were talking, and you know, like I said, people don't change overnight. We had the so-called linguist, you know, who was very confident. And now Nigist, I don't know what you're trying to say, but if you want to get on the panel, you're welcome. You know, if people want to get on the real world, if they have claims, you know, And we're talking about linguistics. We're not talking about revolution, and feel free to get on the panel. If you want to learn the meta nature, I'm giving classes. Other people are giving classes. So you can really get an in-depth knowledge of the meta nature. But I don't know where you're getting at. You know what I'm saying? If you want to say that James P. Allen and all the other Egyptologists or the majority of Egyptologists in the world are wrong, then go ahead, be my guest. So that being said, feel free to participate in the chat or feel free to join the panel. So as Dr. Combo and the so-called linguist were talking, at one point Dr. Combo asked him, because linguistic was mentioned, he asked him, did you have any formal training? The so-called linguist had the nerve to reply yes. Then Dr. Combo asked him, with who? And he just gave names. So there, it was not appealing to authority. That was very disingenuous. Because when a PhD in linguistics asks you if you had any formal training, what it means is that if you had some formal training in linguistics, that's what he's asking. Not if you had discussions or if you shared emails or you had coffee with some linguists. That should go without saying. And at one point, he was even asking if a particular language was reconstructed. And Dr. Combo told him, well, this is still a living language, so there's no point in reconstructing it. And I'm paraphrasing. Unfortunately, that video is no longer online. If you want to hear that video, I expect that probably Netanyahu still has it. I don't know why he removed that video, but it would have been a great insight for people to hear that, to hear someone who doesn't have a degree in linguistics arguing with a doctor in linguistics. That's how far it goes. For the record, there was some disagreement with another PhD called Mario Bjt. So there was some conference and Mario Bjt stated his piece and invalidated the claims or refuted the claims or disagreed with the claims of the so-called linguist and his team of esteemed scholars. Being confident doesn't mean that you have skills, just for the record. Some people are so confident, they are bold, and they are condescending to the point of being disrespectful. Okay. So, what the so-called linguist said to me is that's not even a logical question. Later on, he said, because I asked him if he had a degree in linguistics, he said, I have a degree in computer science, and we did some linguistics. That's the best he could say. And he also said, I'm a computer scientist, so I can tell when you don't make any logical sense. So apparently, because he's a computer scientist, then he has the skill to detect when someone doesn't make any logical sense. Apparently, someone who didn't do any studies in computer science, if someone is not a computer scientist, then he doesn't have the skills to recognize when someone doesn't make any logical sense. I leave it to your appreciation. Now, what is very important for those who will take the time to listen. Now, niggas, maybe I came off as bothered or irritated. There are other meanings for Kem. There are other meanings. That's what you want to hear. There are other meanings. But we talked about that. We actually talked about that. One of the meanings is like complete, to be complete and so on. But the main meaning will be black, And don't take my word for it. Anybody can go on a search engine and type in university where they have the field of Egyptology, and feel free to send an email to an Egyptologist and ask him the question and see what his answer is. Because I don't know it all. I might be wrong, but sources were given. Plenty of sources. As a matter of fact, Marsh Rockwell gave us so many definitions with the word Kem, and he always, well, for the most part, most of them had to do with blackness. The video is there. It's on his own platform. I only put a basically half of it. The video I uploaded is about 3 hours. His live stream is about 6 hours, and I did not catch the beginning. All right, you can see when I got on if you check the chat. I don't know if the chat is already available now. All right, so I have a lot of on my mind, so maybe I came off a bit, like I brushed you off, uh, and that's not the impression that I wanted to give. I'm really kind of thinking I want to address now, and everybody notices that I'm saying the so-called linguist. I don't really want to say his name like that, but unfortunately, his name might come up if I read the name of the article. But I have shared the link, so I might not mention the names of the articles. I just really want to address it now and not bother with it like that later on. Okay. Um. So I can remove that one. So it's very important to recognize, to realize that Ujahu said he will show us some source showing that Kem stands for title. All right, I'm glad you didn't take it the wrong way, Negus Niggas. Um, but he never did. He never did ultimately, and that's very interesting. People who brush you off, people who diminish your statements, people who tell you that you don't understand, who tell you that this is what something means, but then eventually they will tell you, well, we dealt with that in our book, or well, there's that book there that's 300 pages, and if you read that book, then you will understand. The book is in French, by the way. I doubt that any of their team members is capable of reading a book in French. I might be wrong. Now, and I will not fault anybody for not knowing a foreign language. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just stating for the record that the book was in French, but he tried to use as a source. But still, that source once again gave the definition of black for Kem. All right. Now, the so-called linguist said when I left that I was doing ad hominem, but I'm not the one who talked about, well, you're not making any sense. 11 years ago, and then the same thing, no logical sense, just for the record, you know. I'm not the one who engaged a PhD publicly with a publication and then putting someone's name, say, I just want to say for the record that I'm not the like of. That was really foul, really low. And it was addressing someone who said, throw Kemet in the garbage can, throw my out in the trash can, throw Amen-Ra the slave making God away. Some people love the attention. Now, he said that he was talking with his normal speaking voice. I would love to hear him talk the same way to Theophile Benga and all these other scholars who are on the panel. I really doubt that, but it's all good. Now, here are some quotables from the so-called linguists. And once again, you have the link in the description. You have to scroll down. All right. Now, he said that Allah is actually in Egyptian text. He said that Hebrew is an African language. He said that talking about the Hebrews, when I asked him for reference, because it's so good to make claims, because he claimed that they were Hebrews in Kemet and that they were black. He said that the people had to exist in order for them to write the book. It's like me saying Spider-Man had to exist because the book was written. I mean, isn't that a silly argument? The Hebrews had to exist in order for them to write the book. You know, that's the best we can do now. There's nothing wrong with saying, I was wrong. I don't feel the same way. And I thought that there was growth in that so-called linguist when he made a video that was shared by his student, because that student, same guy who likes to go against what he refers to as Egyptomaniacs, he came on my platform and he said that Kemet is the best. And for those who haven't heard it,
Kemet is the greatest empire in history. You don't need to compare. If anybody want to compare, like, we trying to get to Kemet level. Kemet is number one. So we comparing it to other religions is basically saying, hey, we could compare with them. No, we got 3,000 years of documented history. Show me a culture that could show you that. Sumer can't do it. Mesopotamia can't do it. Assyria can't do it. Persia can't do it. The Greeks can't do it.
He was in the chat and I asked him if he was still scared to debate Jabari, and he was like being sarcastic and saying he was terrified, and he said he's scared of Egyptomaniacs like me and Jabari. But when he came on my platform, he never labeled me an Egyptomaniac. You heard what he had to say, but it's all good, no hard feeling. But that guy once said that the so-called linguist was his master teacher. So when you have a master teacher who makes claims like that, you have to understand that the student is a bit different. I'm being diplomatic. Now, the so-called linguist said that Ogun is Cain. The so-called linguist said that Abel relates to the word Fulani. The so-called linguist said that Abel and Fulani are the same word and they have the same lifestyle. The so-called linguist said that Afar people, these are your original Hebrews. The so-called linguist said, then you have their own testimony that they lived in Egypt for 400 years. Whether it's true or not, that's beyond the point. That's what he said. You can hear him say that. Because people love to say, oh, I didn't say that. No, you had me misconstrued. You're putting words in my mouth. The so-called linguist said, now it's my argument in terms of the Judaic tradition that these were disgruntled ancient Egyptian priests who had a different ideology, a different way of understanding something that just didn't agree with the general consensus in Egypt and decided to create their own thing. And he added, you'll see that all these names in the Bible for God are the same names for God in West Africa. How did they have the same names for God? Because in the earlier days, they both came out of the same speech community. Don't be surprised if you hear some people say that Yahweh is Nyame. If you know someone from Ghana, ask him what Nyame is. Now, back in the days, his premise for claiming the existence of Hebrews in Kemet was the term Hapiru. Hapiru. Many pronounce it Hapiru. That's a clear example of linguistic acrobatics and linguistic gymnastics. So that's about it. I'm waiting a few minutes to see if somebody wants to say something or write something, and then I'll put an end to this live stream. But for the record, oh, I forgot to mention that. Now, first, here's the full video. Not the one on my channel, but the one on Smash Rockwell's channel. Oh, my bad. I had to remove that. I want to post only there. Okay. Then there's a video called Wujau was busted for intellectual dishonesty, plagiarism, and deception. So I'm sharing the link there. Because when people are accused of plagiarizing, some people have mentioned a page number where they have plagiarized, and the best that the so-called linguist could do is to say, well, actually, this is the introduction, so there's no page number, so these guys are wrong, these guys have comprehension issues. What about the main issue at hand, which is the plagiarism? But I leave it there. Now I'm sharing a video entitled Nsw.t exposed by Netaneb. Yahweh is not of Egyptian origin. So apparently, not only the so-called linguist claims that Allah is in the Egyptian text, but Yahweh will be of Egyptian origin. Now I'm sharing the video entitled Peer-Reviewed. Wikipedia peer-reviewed deemed Nsw.t's data as pseudoscientific and C-class. And now I'm sharing a video entitled Wujau commits intellectual dishonesty, possible plagiarism and deception, fit Brother Reggie. I mean, those guys, they make up and break up all the time. One day they're cool, one day they're beefing, and so on. By the way, back to the person who said that Kemet was the greatest, Kemet was the best. I asked him in the chat how much he paid Richard Carey, and his reply was the same that I paid him. I did not pay him anything. So he was implying that he did not pay Richard Carey. I think that's interesting, because I heard he paid him. I did not expect him to tell me how much he paid him. It's cool. But for the record, for those of you who go over there for free, people who are not Chem happens to get paid to get on the platform there. And I don't think that he never had any black PhDs, but I leave it there. Now, I'm sharing an article entitled Nsw.t invalid claims, Nsw.t invalid claim of Hebrews in Kemet. Oh, the so-called linguist said that I don't read anything. I guess I will not lose sleep over it, but I guess that's not ad hominem. I guess it's a compliment. Another link is Nsw.t weak scholarship. Here you have one of the video where you will hear the different fruity and exotic claims made by the so-called linguist. He has a very vivid imagination. Another video where you will hear some fruity claims, and another one as well. And I rest my case. That was just for the record. I don't want people to think that there's some beef drama. I've said many times that I don't hate the dude. I don't hate the so-called linguist. I just disagree with his claims. I said it many times. But it's to the point where people can be fraudulent, and he's been fraudulent for years, and still it's all good in the hood, Maybe there's some expiration date. There's some statute of limitation. Like, for example, Koranga, he tortured black woman, but he's there part of this conference that they've been having. So it will be good for them to tell us, how long it takes for whatever we did against black people can be swept under the rug. Just a question. It would be interesting to know, because if I would have tortured black women, I don't think I will be invited to conferences, but somehow, some way, some people can do that, and it's all good. Reggie said that he had respect for the dude, but then Reggie will spend his time, going at a particular brother, and you have to wonder why. So someone who tortures black women, we're not going to talk about the anti-Black Panther allegations, because of course they will say it's COINTELPRO, but the torture of black women, that's what led to his incarceration and his own wife leaving him, But I guess they're going to say it's personal. What you're doing is ad hominem. I'll leave it there. So thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to, by the Necheru, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel. Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes, and here, that's the flyer. Okay, so those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Nsw.t. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/Ma'at Forever.